Good morning, everyone. My seminar topic for today is role of anti-inflammatory agents in management of type 2 diabetes. My moderator is Dr. Sri Krishna sir. Coming to the topic, there is always association between hyperglycemia and inflammation and vascular complications in diabetes. And recent data suggests that immunomodulatory treatment will have beneficiary effects on glycemia, beta cell function, as well as it might even reduce insulin resistance. However, their beneficial metabolic effects are not always clear, and there are concerns regarding duration, efficacy, specificity, and safety of these immunomodulator drugs. And the prevalence of diabetes is on the rise as of now, of 415 million people being affected. Inflammation is central to pathology in type 1 diabetes, but recent studies show that inflammation also plays an important role in the pathogenesis of type 2 diabetes, including obesity related insulin resistance, as well as impaired insulin secretion and diabetes related vascular complications. Immunomodulatory treatment may improve glycemia, B cell function, and reduce insulin resistance in patients with type 2 diabetes. Coming to type 2 diabetes, chronic inflammation is implicated. Targeting inflammation may ameliorate diabetes, preventing its progression and vascular complications. However, cost, duration has to be considered while prescribing immunomodulators in type 2 diabetes mellitus. So coming to pathophysiology of how inflammation will affect diabetes, as we all know, there is hyperglycemia and elevated free fatty acids in diabetes, which will promote inflammation through oxidative phosphorylation, so which results in a type of pro-inflammatory trait affecting macrophages, which are in the adipose tissue and other tissues like islets and vasculature. The same reason of glucotoxicity and lipotoxicity will stimulate all these macrophages and inflammatory cells, and in those cells where there is oxidative and endoplasmic reticular stress because of the glucotoxicity and lipotoxicity, thereby activating thioredoxin interacting protein and NLR family with the pyrine domain, causing release of various inflammatory mediators or cytokines. And one of the important inflammatory mediator is active interleukin IL-1B. IL-1B further amplifies inflammation by expressing various cytokines and chemokines, resulting in recruitment of immune cells known as autostimulation. And in type 2 diabetes also, there is oligomers of islet amyloid polypeptide deposit in pancreas, which trigger inflammation by stimulating NLRP3 inflammasome and generation of mature interleukin 1B. Stress and inflammation may eventually lead to apoptosis and contribute to beta cell dysfunction, insulin resistance, and atherosclerosis. And the important factor in obesity is there is alteration in the gut microbiome, along with increased gut leakiness of bacterial wall lipopolysaccharides, that is endotoxins, that may further promote tissue inflammation. So this is also one of the factors explaining the increased inflammatory mediators, cytokines, CRP level in diabetics can be secondary to endotoxins. Endotoxins, free fatty acids, and cholesterol induced inflammation by activating TLR, that is toll-like receptor, and NFKB pathway, increase the release of interleukin 1B, interleukin 8, and MCP1. So coming to the drugs, The diabetic drugs also has some anti-inflammatory properties. Before discussing the direct anti-inflammatory drugs, we'll discuss anti-inflammatory property in diabetic drugs which should reduce inflammation in one or other way. Metformin is the most commonly used drug which suppresses glucose production in liver and also increases insulin sensitivity. It has both anti-inflammatory and antioxidant effects. By reducing reactive oxygen species generation from complex 1 ubiquinone oxidoreductase in electron pathway, and in liposaccharide activated macrophages, metformin inhibited production of proform of IL-1B, and it also increases anti-inflammatory cytokine, that is interleukin 10. And metformin also attenuates oxidized LDL induced pro-inflammatory response in monocytes and macrophages and inhibit monocyte to macrophage differentiation. And there is modest reduction of C-reactive protein levels in which metformin has been used. Coming to sulfonylureas, they directly stimulate insulin secretion by B cell. They also have shown to have anti-inflammatory effects. For example, glyburide has been shown to inhibit NLRP3 inflammasome and subsequent IL-1B activation in macrophages. Similarly, glycoside also decreased the expression of inflammatory markers and endothelial dysfunction in patients with type 2 diabetes. And coming to thiazolidines, extensive data support the direct role of peroxisome proliferation activated receptor in the negative regulation of inflammation. And TZDs are PPAR agonists that improve metabolism by increasing insulin sensitivity, primarily by increasing glucose utilization and decreasing hepatic glucose production. Pioglitazone treatment decreased invasion of adipose tissue by pro-inflammatory macrophages and increased hepatic and peripheral insulin sensitivity. So treatment with TZDs also decrease inflammation in non-alcoholic steatohepatitis and in atherosclerotic lesions. A meta-analysis showed that pioglitazone and rosiglitazone decreased serum CRP levels significantly in people with and without diabetes, irrespective of effects on glycemia. Treatment with TZDs improved endothelial function, decreased CRP and inflammatory markers, and increased adiponectin level. Coming to DPP-4 inhibitors, there is evidence that these inhibitors can improve a variety of cardiovascular risk factors and inflammation. They were found to suppress NLRP3, toll-like receptors and interleukin 1B expression in human macrophages, thereby reducing inflammatory changes in endothelium as well as pancreas, reducing destruction of beta cells. Treatment with sitagliptin for 12 weeks reduced mRNA expression of CD26, tumor necrosis factor, toll-like receptor 2, toll-like receptor 4 and pro-inflammatory kinases and KB kinase as well as inhibitor of chemokine receptor of CCR2 in mononuclear cells, as well as plasma CRP and interleukin 6. A GLP-1 agonist, glucagon-like peptide analogs induce weight loss and improve glycemia and cardiovascular risk factors, may be partially mediated by their anti-inflammatory effects. Modulate the pro-inflammatory activity of innate immunity system, leading to reduced pro-inflammatory activation of macrophages, and consequently there is reduced synthesis of cytokines such as tumor necrosis factor, interleukin 1B and interleukin 6 and increased adiponectin. With regard to the effects of GLP-1 analogs on CRP, a small placebo-controlled study demonstrated a significant reduction in CRP levels with exenatide. In a 12-month comparative study, exenatide demonstrated a significant decrease in CRP compared with sulfonylureas. Insulin also has been shown to elevate inflammation through several mechanisms, including increased endothelial nitric oxide release and decreased expression of pro-inflammatory cytokines and immune mediators such as NFKB, intracellular adenosine molecule, and MCP1, also including toll-like receptors. Coming to the anti-inflammatory drugs, anti-tumor necrosis factor A was the first pro-inflammatory cytokine. Tumor necrosis factor A was the first pro-inflammatory cytokine implicated in pathogenesis of insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. However, anti-TNF-A has not demonstrated any clear benefit in type 2 diabetes as far as studies show. A number of observational studies have demonstrated that treatment of subjects without diabetes and with inflammatory disease such as rheumatoid arthritis, psoriasis, and Crohn's disease with anti-TNF-A has improved glycemia and reduced risk of diabetes. Drugs such as infliximab, adalimumab, certolizumab, pegol, and golimumab and etanercept. Coming to anti-interleukin 1b, numerous studies have showed that interleukin 1b blockade will improve insulin resistance and glycemic control. 8 independent clinical studies conducted with an interleukin 1 receptor antagonist, anakinra, or interleukin 1b specific antibody, zivokizumab, canakinumab, have demonstrated beneficial effects on metabolic parameters such as there is reduced glyco-HB and enhanced insulin sensitivity and beta cell secretory function with concomitant improvement in inflammatory markers. In a double-blind placebo-controlled parallel group study involving 70 patients with type 2 diabetes, IL-1B blockade with anakinra reduced glyco-HB, CRP, interleukin 6 levels, and there is pro-insulin to insulin ratio which shows increased insulin synthesis. Salsalate, a prodrug of salicylate with fewer adverse reactions like bleeding compared to the aspirin and sodium salicylate, has demonstrated beneficial effects on glycemia and insulin sensitivity, probably through inhibition of NFKB pathway. Safety of salicylate was studied in well-designed multi-center placebo-controlled study of 48 weeks duration. While the drug was well tolerated, a small increase in LDL cholesterol level was observed, as well as there is also increase in urinary albumin secretion, which was reversible. Coming to the drug diacerin, a drug currently used in the treatment of arthritis, which reduces interleukin 1b. Although the mechanism is unclear, it improved insulin secretion as well as glyco-HB levels and reducing interleukin 1b and tumor necrosis factor. And further studies are warranted to clarify its long-term efficacy and safety. Antimalarials such as hydrochloroquine and chloroquine are used for autoimmune rheumatic disease, rheumatoid arthritis, and lupus. The anti-inflammatory mechanism of SCQ is not known and is probably related to alkalization of endosomal organelles in immune cells. SCQ has been shown to reduce the incidence of diabetes among patients with rheumatoid arthritis and lupus and to improve glycemia in patients with rheumatic disorders and diabetes. A few small randomized controlled trials showed that SCQ lower glyco-HB as well as LDL cholesterol levels in patients with type 2 diabetes. However, they have their own side effects, including arrhythmias and QT prolongation. And various other drugs which might reduce inflammation are statins, which showed there is reduction of CRP level and has ex vivo effects on tumor necrosis factor and interleukin 6, but no effects on circulating interleukin 6 and tumor necrosis factor alpha. Fibrates also shown to reduce CRP level and mild reduction in interleukin 6 level. AC inhibitors and ARBs also reduce tumor necrosis factor interleukin 6 as well as CRP. Aspirin also showed to have reduction of CRP. So coming to anti-inflammatory drugs, however has benefits in diabetic patients, there are side effects as well as increased cost, such as in drugs like anakinra, which has to be given subcutaneous, and also various side effects, renal side effects, and duration of treatment is not yet clear. Thank you.